After 7 months of failing at my goal of 100K a month of impact, I realized I need to have my own protocol for how to continue embodying the identity of someone who can create this type of results. And I want to share this protocol with me, but I also want to first share about what I have observed as to what keeps happening, meaning what kind of pattern I keep observing in my own life as I go and say that this is the impact that I want to make every month. And the pattern is uh, very predictable, if you will. And the part that I find it even more fascinating is that whatever the pattern that I accept to be true, I just keep seeing it in my reality. In other words, whatever I accept to be true, I keep seeing it in my reality versus keep seeing the reality that I want to see. Right. So I'm really distinguishing between there is this truth energy and there is this want energy. So the truth energy is whatever you accept to be true, you just keep seeing in your reality. And whatever you want it to be true, you don't see it. So as I keep seeing how I failed every month from the beginning to make this type of impact happen, and the way that I measure this is the more impact I make, the money is the byproduct of measuring and showing that I am making that impact. And this is what I have seen that I kept repeating the same pattern that I say this is what I want to do in the months. And then along the way, maybe after a few days of the month, I get derailed from my goal by focusing on all the ways of how this won't happen, how this is not who I am, how I'm not cut out for it. And then I just keep either thinking about it or keep solving it. And then by the time I'm back to track, the month is over and feeling like, oh, another month and things didn't happen the way I want to. Right. So therefore, I just want you to see that the want energy did not materialize in the real life. Instead, what kept materializing and what kept showing up in my reality is all of the beliefs that I believe to be true. So the beliefs, something like, I know I can't make this work. I know I'm not the cutout for this kind of impact. I know I don't want to be in this situation, but I am. I will assume that maybe a different reality will show up in my life, but I'm not sure. All of these beliefs kept showing up in my reality month after month. So, if anything, I took from that is that my negative beliefs are so good at coming true, not because they're negative, I believe. It is because I just accepted that to be true. Right? So equally, I could have accepted another thing to be my truth. So equally, I could have accepted that I'm someone who makes 100K level of impact every month, and this is just who I am. I could have accepted that, but for some reason, my brain wants to so hold on to the familiar, the safe way of doing things, even if that's not what I want to. Right? You probably can relate to this. And exactly that pattern is what I kept repeating month after month as I reflect and look at every month as to how it went. And then I'm surprised as to how I'm not where I want to be, right? So that's why I thought, okay, I would like now to have a protocol, and I like doing things in protocol ways, like having everything written down, and I will, of course, have more of the action parts in as well. But the protocol's job is to help me align my new identity with my actions and with my results. Because what kept happening until now is that I kept doing certain actions as to how this is what I want and this is what I want to create. But my identity was not matching my actions, right? Meaning that I didn't really see myself and feel myself, and most importantly, accept the truth of this is who I am. And because of that, while I was taking actions, my brain would then sabotage me going into all these discussions as to how I'm not this person, I can't do this, I'm having a hard time, I don't want to do this, all of these things that I know too well. And therefore, it just hijacks me to all the thinking and overwhelm and analyzing and all of this thing versus staying course, staying true to the actions that I would take from the identity of this is who I am. And I have seen this over and over again how until the identity matches the action in the results, when they all three aligned, until that alignment happens, your brain seems to keep sabotaging you and keep derailing you from the actual course of where you're going, right? I will give you an example to illustrate it with one of my clients that I was coaching recently. And she was telling me that she's not good at planning. And we have discussed several different ways of planning and how she wants to plan and all of this. And then she still kept feeling like she's not good at it. And then once she managed to do the planning and she was satisfied how she was executing some of the planning and she was feeling good, she was still saying that, but what if this is temporary change, right? What if it's not the permanent change? In other words, she was saying that, what if this is not who I am? And because we believe that this is not who I am, therefore, we just keep finding all the different ways to sabotage ourselves or derail ourselves from the actual goal, or find all the excuses to not pursue the goal that we want to, or to not believe that that goal is achieving that goal is something normal for us. So then I was telling her that as long as we keep treating this as a temporary fix, and you then keep worrying about how you will go back to not being able to plan, how you will go back to being overwhelmed, confused, and not having energy, then it just means that your identity is not established yet, right? Your identity of I'm someone who's good at planning, that identity hadn't synced in. And therefore, you keep finding a lot of different ways to make it a temporary change versus saying, this is who I am and that's it. And that's also how a lot of the times I was discussing with several people as to how we tend to be good at following our standards, following our principles, following our values when things are going well. But as soon as hard times hit, we're just like, oh my God. And then we derail and we focus on totally different things, right? You can relate to this. So, in other words, what we're saying is that my value system is optional. It only works when I am in good times. It doesn't work when I'm having shitty days. So that's why, to counteract all of that, I have decided that what if I kept track of my own protocol of how I want to keep establishing and embodying that identity of someone who makes 100K a month impact every day, knowing that my brain will want to hijack me again, knowing that my brain will come up with all the reasons and excuses as to how I can't do that. And I know how to coach myself and get coaching. So I know how to do that. But I thought if I have a protocol that I have it in front of me every day in the morning when I work, and then I look at it and I remind myself, hold on, this is me. This is the energy of me accepting my truth about this is who I am. Because I know that whatever the truth we hold that keeps being the reality of your life, right? So the more I embody this being my truth of who I am, instead of keep questioning, keep doubting, keep asking whether this will happen, how this will happen, how this is not happening, all of this, instead of doing all of that and focusing on that, my job is to focus on the protocol of me feeling and accepting the truth of this is who I am. This is the type of person I am now, and let my body tune itself to the right energy of, yes, this is true. And that from that energy, me then taking actions and also coaching myself and coaching, getting coaching on all the things that my brain will say, how this is not true, I will keep coaching on those so that I don't end up focusing on them. But rather, maybe I will take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to journal and let them all out, decide what to do with them, and then go back to focusing on the action of what I want to do and how I want to make that impact with other people, so that my focus is more aligned and coherent and grounded, rather than my focus is forced or I'm trying to do things as if against my own will kind of situation, right? So that is the very specific and very actionable protocol that I can embody every day so that I keep track of whether I'm going in that way or my brain is again coming with a lot of different excuses to not pursue what I say is my truth. So when I have this type of protocol, then obviously the way that I know that my protocol is working, the way that I know that my identity is working is by me uh, following the actions, implementing the actions in the focused, coherently, committedly focused way. I also know when this is happening where my energy of truth will emanate how this is who I am now versus am I this or am I not? Am I cut out for it? Am I not? All of this will go away, or at least it will stay on my papers and my journals and not in my brain, right? And the way that I will know also that I am creating those amazing outcomes with my clients, and that is resulting in the numbers that I see and the milestones that I see that I keep hitting. And all of this will show that my protocol and most importantly, my identity of this is who I am now is working. So that I no longer stay in the, I would like to have this, I want to do this, I want to do it, but then never doing it, that no longer exists, right? And if I give you another analogy of how I have solved this problem before in my life, actually in so many occasions, but one of the very distinct ones that I have done is I realized that from the childhood, I had this self-concept where I was not a confident person, right? I always felt like I had difficulties with confidence. I'm not the confident person. I need to do this to prove this. Da, 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 da. And then after burnout and depression, and you know my story, I realized, okay, how do I live my life where confidence issue is no longer the issue at all? Like I have removed it for all, once and for all. How do I do that? And then I realized, okay, I'm so tired of keep trying to find ways to fix it or keep trying to find ways to prove to others and all of this. I'm just so tired. I no longer engage in any of that. I no longer engage in games. I accept myself to be the most confident, authentic person that I am. And I want to feel myself that way. And let me explore how that feels. And I'm also someone who no longer has confidence issues. This is how I'm accepting myself. And once I did that, after a while, I realized, oh my God, I no longer have that chatter constantly telling me how I don't have confidence, how I should do this, how I should do that, how others are better, how I'm this, how I'm that. All of this was gone. And that's how I have solved it. And I kept then seeing reality reflecting as to how I have then started meeting people who treat me with great respect. I treated them with great respect. If there were any problems, I was able to talk to them openly, honestly, and solve them, or setting boundaries. So everything started changing from that moment on. And I want this to be the same experience where this is who I am now. And let me feel and accept this truth in my body so that my body feels safe, my nervous system feels safe to know that this is who I am and this is my reality, so that I can do the things from that identity and not keep focusing on all the doubts and worries and confusions and overwhelm about how this is not this, da, 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 da. Keep trying to find evidence for how I can be this person and not really finding evidence, and then questioning whether I should even go for this goal or not. All of this then will becomes like something that is part of the old identity. I keep coaching on them until the old identity is let go. And I just keep embodying and feeling and accepting in my body this to be true, so that I can focus on my clients. I can focus on the people who are listening to me. I can focus on how best to propose solutions to them so that I can work with them in the best way possible, which then creates the results that I believe is already true. So this is my protocol, you all. If you would like to do your own protocol of embodying and accepting this identity, whatever the identity you are looking for to be true, and create the reality from that identity, you should absolutely join my Transitioning Humanitarians community, where I'm coaching you individually and in group settings. There will be a link, the email below for you to email me to get link to sign up. Have a beautiful week. I'll talk to you soon.